This is a quick sketch of Sanji for you, brothers and sisters. Thought it would be fitting to wrap up Volume 6, and we look forward to seeing you and diving into Volume 7. One Piece, Chapter 53, Mackerel Head. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you yet another review on the awesome and action-packed tale of One Piece. The last chapter left us with Zoro pretty much crippled and broken, a broken and battered man, I should say. He and Usopp took off in the direction of Nami to try to recover her, the treasure, and the merry-go. And Luffy decided that he was going to stay back on the Baratie, and he was going to convince Sanji to join them, and then also, he worked out a deal with old Red Leg Zeff to not have to work for a year if he chased off Don Krieg and his pirates, which Chef Zeff happily took that offer. So we start off right where we left off, and Don Krieg is on his sinking wreck of a ship. And he's basically saying, it doesn't matter, I was going to scuttle that ship anyway, it was going to be gone. Let's get ready and let's get prepared, this is going to be great. Once we capture this ship, just look at what the ship looks like, just look at its decorations. We'll be able to sail the Grand Line and nobody will suspect us. We don't have to raise a white flag or have a Navy ship for disguise. Nobody will suspect us coming. And honestly, we'll be able to there's so many pirates that are probably out of work, we'll be able to easily put together another, just another huge fleet, right? And so somebody speaks up again and is like, yeah, but Don Krieg, what if we run into another fellow like that Hawkeye again, And Don Krieg just shoots him and says, any more questions? Any more cowards? And everybody's, no. So again, he kind of goes into the whole thing about how they'll be able to sail the Grand Line, and then he also goes and says he's trying to defend what happened to his ship and to his armada, and he goes and he says, besides, he must have had some kind of devil fruit power. Isn't it obvious, And it's because somebody, and some of the crew are like, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, he must have used some kind of special devil fruit power, to destroy us and to destroy the ship. There's folks like that all over in the Grand Line, so he's basically now making excuses as well for them getting their asses handed to him by Hawkeye. So he wants to go in and get ready to commence the attack. And like I said, he's got about 100 men with him, and he's got everybody all riled up and ready to go. And then Don also gets everybody riled up too, saying about how, but that Red Leg Zeff, though, he sailed the Grand Line for a year, and I'll bet you in that logbook of his, he's got all kinds of different, tricks for being able to survive in the Grand Line. And maybe even the location, or probably even the location of the One Piece, and everybody's, he's so smart, hey, good job, Don Krieg, and everybody's getting with him. So like I said, they're getting all riled up and ready to attack. Back on the ship, Luffy, asks Zeff again, he says, are you sure you're gonna honor this deal, if I get rid of them? And old Redleg says, yeah, I couldn't ask for a better deal. If you were here for a year anyway, you'd destroy my damn restaurant, because Luffy's such a just terrible chore boy, as we already found. So Sanji then goes and tells one of the cooks, first he asks where Patty and Carne are, and he says, oh yeah, they're ready and itching to go, and he says, oh good, because those two are good in a fight like this. So he goes and he tells one of the other cooks, he says, go down and raise the fins, or release the fins, and he says, well, are you sure? Won't that draw them on, or won't that give them a foothold? And he says, yeah, that's the idea, though. We don't want to destroy the restaurant. The crap geezer will kill us. That's what he calls Red Leg. He calls Zeff, and Zeff says, what? He says, oh, nothing. So so that's where he goes. He sends somebody off down there, and we see there's something. They're planning something as well. Meanwhile, while this happens, Luffy turns then, and as he's kind of grabbing onto the railing, he goes and pulls himself, and goes Gomu rocket, and he rockets himself toward Don Krieg and his men, and then as he gets over them or close to them, he goes in giant scythe, and he just pulls out and just knocks a ton of them into the water, quite a few of them. And then winds up landing on on the kind of half fallen mast that's sticking out of the water from the ship, And then Don Krieg goes and he says, "Oh yeah, Rubber Boy, I know about you and the ones that eat the devil fruit. You sink like an anchor, And he's basically like, yeah, you've put yourself in a precarious position, sitting out over the water, right? And Luffy says, that's fine, I can still stretch forward. And then right at that point, all of a sudden it's kind of cool. We go and we see that Carne and Patty have gotten into the front of the ship. The Baratie has this big mackerel looking thing that you thought was a decoration on it. Well, apparently that's like a detachable boat, submersible type deal. It's really cool. And they're in it, driving it or whatever. And they're like, yeah, secret weapon, Mackerel Head 1. And boom, the front of it goes to open up, and you can see that there's cannons, there's big cannons in it. And it looks like like one of the long range cannons, like surface to air cannons that they would have on the big guns that they would have on like a battleship, And real cool looking. So, and everybody's shitting bricks. They're like, oh my god, So some of Don Krieg's men, they're in a boat. No, row faster. No, you got to row faster. Turn quicker to port. If you don't row faster, don't yell at me. And while they're doing this, the mackerel is turning and it's coming towards them, right? And then you go and you see them. They say, red fire. And they just boom, and just blow a ton of them out of the water, blow them to shit, And like I said, it's pretty neat because everything starts to kind of heat up, and then you see them sort of even in the odds over here with this secret weapon, the mackerel head that prior to that we just thought was some kind of decoration on the front of the ship, So after the mackerel pretty much just blows the shit out of everybody, and now they're all sinking or they're swimming, trying to stay afloat. Then all of a sudden he says, okay, raise the fins. And remember Sanji had told the one cook to go down there and raise the fins. And as he does this, we see what this actually does. Everybody who is sinking and starting to basically go under and drown, all of a sudden now you see this deck rising up. And it's this really cool deck that kind of circles around the ship, and it's a fighting deck. And then Don Krieg's all happy about that, and Sanji's like, all right, whatever, now you pirates can fight amongst yourselves. And then the mackerel, the mackerel head, the boat that has the cannons, they decide then they're going to go for Don Krieg, Patty and Carne. And he tells them, hey, full speed ahead, we're going for him. He's like, we're going to blast you out of the water, Don Krieg. And they start coming at him full steam. And apparently they were just planning on, I guess, just running right through him or running him over, And Don Krieg, just in this cool scene, he just kind of goes, poof, and, puts his hand to the side and stops this ship with these three cannons on it, just coming straight at him, and they're like, oh my god, what strength, And he just stops him flat, and he says, I am Don Krieg, ruler of the seas. And then Luffy chimes in the next panel, and he says, hey, that's what I'm going to be. And he says, I don't have time for your insolence, boy, for your nonsense, He winds up grabbing the mackerel with these two, with Patty and Carne in the mackerel, and just tosses it through the air, right? And they're like, oh my god, and they're flying through the air, oh, we're heading right for the restaurant. And then it winds up, the chapter ends right at that point here, the chapter and the volume, and Sanji, who we know very little about too up until this point, goes and just does like this inside jump crescent kick where he just and just kicks it to change the trajectory of it so they don't, obviously impale themselves into the restaurant, damage it, hurt themselves, maybe kill others. And that's how it ends. He's just kind of like, whoosh, and they're like, whoa, Sanji just kicked it out of the way. So I think in the next volume we're gonna find out a little bit more about Sanji, and maybe too what his deal is, what his backstory is, as far as why he feels this need to defend the Baratie or the Baratie. Is it is it an allegiance to Chef to Red Leg Zeff? Is it an allegiance to the Baratie itself, or maybe somebody that's on there? Maybe he made a promise to someone. So I guess we're going to find all this out, hopefully in the upcoming volume. But all in all, it was a very exciting one. Certainly, this is a really cool story arc, and we've got introduced to some new characters that are quite fun to just kind of read, to draw, to find out more about. And it's pretty much just edge of your seat, and me, it's very, very difficult to not want to just go and say, well, forget about the reviews right now. I'm just going to read like 5 or 10 chapters, But I have been staying very loyal to reading one, recording, reading, recording, Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Certainly give me a thumbs up and throw me a like if you think I deserved it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We ended up this volume here, and we will look to catch you in the next chapter and the beginning of the next volume. Take it easy, nation. As always, thank you for watching, brothers and sisters. Be sure to subscribe and take a look at some of my other videos. Thanks. See you next time, nation.